So insane, Dad.
Yeah, I know. It was so rude, and he didn't care. That shows how heartless he was. I remember thinking at that time, he's really heartless. I didn't feel like he cared about Mother. He wasn't there. She never talked to him before she was unconscious either. He got there after she was unconscious.
Oh.
He didn't care. It was the weirdest thing. And then the whole funeral's about, poor me, I've suffered this terrible loss. When all he was doing was watching porn with underage girls.
Oh my God.
Like right off, he's like, hands off my father's wives. Well, then he goes and marries them all. I mean, he had a plan in place.
Do you think Helaman's going to try to make something out of the FLDS, or do you think he's kind of just going to let things go?
I don't think he's going to let him go.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Jaden Jeffs podcast. I left the FLDS a little while ago. Now I'm doing a podcast. I have my sister Rachel Jeffs with me here. She was one of the first ones. First one, second one of Dad's children to leave? Third? Fourth?
Fourth.
Okay. But you were kind of...
But I was kind of involved with the first ones leaving too.
Yeah, and you were kind of the first one that really spoke out.
Yeah. Publicly.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything to everybody before we get going, or introduce yourself? Or
I'm Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's crazy is I feel like when someone leaves, their mind truly isn't free, and I feel like a lot of people that have left, maybe you were the first one that really kind of saw through more of it.
I mean, obviously it was tough, but I'm lucky in a way that I truly knew how bad Warren was, in a way that a lot of other of the siblings, they didn't know. All they had to go on was what we said, what I said, or what the girls said. The older girls, all the younger siblings had to just trust that what we were saying was true. But there's testimony around the truth of Warren and his abuse because of, they all knew he married underage girls, all these things. Why would he do that if he wasn't already doing that before, I mean, a pedophile, once a pedophile, always. He always was that way. So it just, if you look at his whole life, he was like that to his little sisters, then to his daughters and other girls in the school. Then when he had more and more power, he married little girls because he finally was in that position. I think if everybody looked at the whole picture, they would see it was a pattern. He was living a pattern.
I agree, but it's so hard to see. It is so hard to see when you're coming from him. You're one of his own children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I listened to your book on my way up here yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, I had read your book 2 years ago or something.
Was it different now?
It was different because I think I more fully accepted it.
Uh-huh.
And it's just different.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I appreciate about your book is you're pretty honest about Warren Jeffs in the sense that, we were just a normal family doing normal things in Salt Lake. And
then on the side, he was a pedophile.
Yeah, it's so insane.
Yeah.
I look back on our lives and I'm just like, I cannot believe I don't even know if we're real.
No, it is. It's like you look back and you're like, did I live that life? Did I really live that life? Wow, that was crazy. But when you're in it, you think it's normal.
Yeah. So you were 8 years old when Warren Jeffs' abuse first kind of started. Mm-hmm. Do you think he had abused other people before that?
Well, I know that he has because, I've talked to his sisters that he'd done before. One of his sisters in particular told me he abused her sexually when I was a baby. And she was over at our house watching a movie with him. He had sent a couple of the mothers to put us to bed. So, obviously it happened before it happened to me. And I don't think we'll ever know the extent of abuse that he did because he had numberless kids at his reach every day at school. We have no clue what he really did.
That's true. Yeah, he was the principal. Well, you were 8 years old and that abuse started in your life. He's been such I've been trying to figure this out for my own peace, kind of.
Yeah.
And because we were taught so well, it is the craziest thing how well we were taught morally.
I always say, I think Warren required us to be what he wished he was. I think he made us be so perfect the way he wished he was. And that's what he required of us. And that's why it was so hard for especially the younger siblings to see what he really was, because he required perfection. I mean, utmost perfection. And not only that, he preached against everything he did, always.
What's so insane to me is his kind of spirituality. And it seemed very genuine.
Sincere, yes, sincere.
Was it not?
I've thought that too. I saw him pray, obviously, we saw him pray. I think he was very good at manipulating and putting on a show, especially to his own father. And the more I've looked at his life, he knew how to put on a show. He did.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Like, he really did, for his father, for everyone. I mean, you think, me and Becky were talking yesterday about why did he wear such ugly clothes? Okay, he would always wear brown. We hated I remember as a child being embarrassed of his brown shirt, brown slacks, and brown tie-up shoes. And we were like, he wasn't trying to impress women, obviously.
Yeah.
And he was trying to put on this humble look, that he was just this poor, homely boy that was good. And then he kept himself around kids where he could get away with what he actually did with his so he could satisfy his appetite.
Yeah, I heard somebody was telling me that Lyle got him into abusing his sisters. Is Lyle his same age?
No,
Lyle's younger.
3 years younger than him.
Oh.
I would never believe that.
Okay.
Lyle did what Lyle did. I think Lyle was more into women than kids.
Okay.
Lyle was, I'm not even going to say, I don't know much about Lyle. I know he did do some stuff, but I'm not sure how extensive it was. I know a lot more about Warren. I think Warren was a lot more evil than Lyle. I think Warren was maybe a little smarter, higher IQ. Lyle was just play around. I don't know. I think Warren knew what he was doing, and Lyle was just following along and wanted some women.
Well, I kind of hate Lyle for some reason, though.
Lyle was
that,
outwardly mean, like more physically mean, and just his words were mean. But he was trying to please Warren with all of it, And Warren was way more sneaky, way more aspiring, way more controlling in a quiet way. But Warren was also he wasn't very brave. He was a coward in his own way, because you know how often he had other men give his mean messages, and he didn't dare face men in general.
Yeah.
He never would have a stand up with a man or punch somebody. He was way too baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of from your point of view, do you think Warren Jeffs was definitely like a mastermind trying to take over the FLDS rather than kind of put in a good position to do it?
I think he was a mastermind in a way of aspiring to power. I think he was really good at that. And I remember him studying Hitler's book. I remember him reading Hitler's book. I mean, things like that. And I just remember thinking, why would you read that? I mean, not that I know other people have studied it for other reasons, but I don't know. I don't know that he was studying it for a good reason. I think he actually was aspiring to power. And he was so quick to accuse everyone else of aspiring to power when he was doing that all along.
Yeah.
I think he was pretty mastermind about it. I think he had a master plan that took many years for him to take over.
Uh-huh. You've said in your book that you felt like Mother Annette and Mother Barbara kind of withheld affection from their children more than other mothers.
Yeah, the reason I say that, Warren would always say to us kids, Mother Annette's, Mother Barbara's children, well, because Mother Annette and Mother Barbara came from an apostate family, so they're basically Gentiles, and I had to convert them, then I had to be father and mother to you. Basically, they're not worthy of being a mother to you, so I'm father and mother to you. And I remember they never would go buy us something or show us a lot of love, because it would make him jealous. It would make him upset if they did something for us. And so they were afraid to do very much for us or show us very much love, because he wanted us to only love him. And I think that hurt my relationship with Mother for a lot of years, where I thought, well, Father's the more loving parent, or Father's the kinder parent, where Mother just didn't dare. She wasn't allowed to do that. And so I think more than anything, they were his victim first.
Yeah.
And he put them down and made them feel worthless. And I have heard stories, and I I shouldn't talk about it on here, but someone did tell me that one of our uncles said that Warren had sex with Mother before they were married, when she was 16. At Hydro Pack when she was working for him at 15 and 16.
Oh, okay.
She was working for him, and that's why I wonder if it's true. And the way he treated her like she was bad, and the way he controlled her wedding story, that was such a big deal to him. She had to write it down the way he wanted her to write it down. And it was very interesting, so I'm very suspicious if that's true.
Yeah.
And then I would realize why she was the way she was about him doing stuff to me. She was probably his victim first.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's crazy is a lot of the mothers are so loyal and they can't see past it. And even to this day, you know, you have Mother Nat there, and who seems fairly devoted.
Do you think that because Warren tore them down, like, you came from a bad family, you were bad, you were bad, you were bad, I am good, I am good, I am good, made them feel like, well, I'm bad, worthless, that worthlessness, he tore them down for so long that they just can't see past, well, he's so good, he brought me to this level, I'm married to the prophet, I mean, all these things, it's just like, how can I possibly let all this go? They gave their life to this.
Oh, yeah.
And now what? It means nothing? Yeah, it means nothing.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the crazy things about all the men that were close to Warren Jeffs, like Isaac and Nephi. They gave their entire lives.
And rich.
Yeah, and rich.
I know. They gave their whole life to this man, and they turned their family so strongly to them. How could they turn around and be like, oh, oops, I guess he was bad?
I know. They turned their families to him so much that their families now are just doing what Warren Jeffs says, and they won't listen to
those men
anymore.
That's the damage done.
Insane.
It's so real. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's also kind of like, I wonder if they kind of deserve it, because they sat going along with so many things that did not make sense.
Well, and they knew, I mean, like when Warren started going crazy and in prison, I think his guilt drove him crazy, and living alone, and actually happened to face himself, and when he tried to kill himself and stuff, they knew these things and they wouldn't tell anyone. I think that's shame on them. And then to actually carry out the things Warren was making them do in sending men away and separating families, I think that they're going to suffer for that.
Yeah, and even in my own experience, I remember calling both of those guys and being like, hey, I've done everything I know how to do. And they would just kind of chuckle and be like, well, just keep obeying your father. And I'm like, we're getting messages that we're going to die tomorrow if we're not part of the United Order. And then you just chuckle and be like, keep doing the best you can. It's like, dude, like, make this make sense.
Okay, and you know, in Fowler's family, it came down to Warren would decide basically from birth, I like you, I don't like you. You're a favored child, you're not a favored child. You're a favored wife, you're not a favored wife. There was nothing you could do to change that. No matter, these ones that were not favored did way more good than the favored ones most of the time, a lot of the time. And there was nothing they could do to change his mind. Nothing.
Yeah, that's relieving to hear you say, honestly, because I always felt that the judgment was not...
It wasn't
Not
just.
based on
if you were good or not.
Yeah.
But because this group was treated like you're good, well, naturally it was easier for them to be good because they felt like they were good. It was harder for this group to be good because they were labeled bad. So they just felt like anything they did was bad, even though they tried way, way harder. And it was even in groups of, Mother Net's, Mother Barbara's children are special. And not always, because there was other special children to a degree here and there, and they got flopped onto this pile sometimes. But it was really tough. I mean, and there was a few, like Jake wasn't treated special, Mother's child. He was always in the bad pile. I mean, you know. But it was just, you still, I mean, I remember thinking as a child, I'm so glad I'm Mother Barbara's child. Because then Father will treat me better. I mean, that was really sad, and I felt sorry for the other siblings. Like, wow, father just is not very nice to the other children.
Yeah, I feel like I went back and forth.
You did. You were favored and not favored.
Yeah.
I think, are you an apostle right now? Considered?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I doubt it though, because of all the things I say, but I guess you're exalted.
I said lots of stuff, and I'm still in the celestial kingdom. So.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you think? You're 8 years old and this stuff starts happening. I wanted to ask you how a child reacts to sexual things when they don't know. Do you? Because you act like you automatically knew it was evil. I'm wondering if that just comes natural with being a child, or is it because Warren Jeffs was teaching that it was evil, and then behind closed doors he was doing that?
I think a lot of it was I knew it was evil because Warren had taught us it was evil, but at the same time there's a natural shame that comes with it. So I was confused, like, is this my fault? Because there's a shame. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. Like, you grow up and have sex with a man that you love. That feels natural. That feels right. You have that experience as a child. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. It feels awful. You hate it. And you feel so much shame, and you're not sure where to place that shame, on yourself, on him. Like, my common sense told me it was his fault. I knew it was. But then naturally I was like, is there something bad about me that's making him do this? Because he's supposedly such a good man. So I was very confused at why he was doing it. So and when you go through that experience, all of a sudden, because I was a really happy, cheerful child, really outgoing, and from that moment on, I felt like the whole world could see the shame. And so I closed in a lot and was a lot more quieter. I just felt so much shame, and I didn't know how to handle it. And that's more what it's like. And I think I always say a pedophile murders a child's soul when they go through that experience, because these feelings are not meant for kids, especially from an adult. And so it's just so traumatizing. And I think we've seen other siblings, some of our sisters, which I believe were also sexually abused, haven't even been able to have kids because of that experience. I totally believe that's why they act like that. And I think everybody handles it different. Some people are stronger and some people aren't. But all the way around, all of us that I have experienced it, that I've talked to, it's just so much shame, and you don't know how to deal with it. And then to have Warren start saying, well, you wanted this, try and put it on you all the time. And now that I've been around law enforcement and had a lot more to do with victims as a victim advocate and stuff like that, the truth is all pedophiles make their victims feel like it's their fault. They blame the victim. Oh, you made me feel that way. You wanted that. So it's just like you realize they're all the same, and they make their victims feel that way. It's never the child's fault. An 8-year-old child, let alone a 5 or however old, can never even have the capacity to think far enough to go there. So to have that happen it's very traumatizing.
Yeah, one of the crazy things was in your book, you were saying how he basically said the next day, you didn't pass the test. That's a mind fuck.
I know, especially as a child, you're like, what test? No, I knew what he was referring. I mean, basically, he made me do this, but then, oh, you didn't pass the test. I had always pulled away. I don't know, that's where he was playing mind games. But he always played mind games. And he always put everything on everyone else. He wasn't going to take the blame for anything. He still can't take the blame for anything. It's always everyone else's fault. And I think that originated clear when he was a child. He was spoiled. Oh, this poor little preemie child got very, very spoiled, could do no wrong. It got in his head. He didn't believe he could do wrong. Everything was always everyone else's fault. Put it on all of us. And I think one thing is narcissistic parents, children get very talented at learning how to deal with people, because I feel like, especially as young children, and maybe for us older ones where we around Warren a lot, he came in the room, we all tested the room. is he mad right now? Is he upset? Is he happy? I mean, some days he's really fun and happy. Other days he came in mad. You know, is he grumpy? I mean, every day he walked in the room, you were testing the room, and you were deciding if you wanted to be in that room or not, or how to treat him.
Yeah, I feel like all dad's kids are somewhat good at reading a room and not being confrontational in any way.
Because he would get rid of you if you were.
Yeah, like me and the boys, a lot of times we'll have a major disagreement, but just let it boil under the surface forever without saying anything. Or, I feel like that's all through our children.
Okay, I think we need to learn to talk better.
Yeah, I agree.
We do. We got to actually bring stuff to the front and be like, hey, guys, this is an issue. Let's talk about it. I mean, we all need to come in a room together, figure our life out, and then be like, hey, we still all love each other. But no, I think that is an issue. And I think we learned that in being in Warren's family. He was very much that way.
Yeah, coming to accept the truth about Warren Jeffs was so difficult for me. And I look back on it and I'm just like, how did this happen? And I can't see the world, every way I look at the world, I'm like, who is like trying to rip us off here, Well,
I remember when Mother was going to die. This is how I relate to it. When Mother was about to die, when she was sick, with cancer, I thought, Heavenly Father would never do that to us. He would never make us lose our mother. We're too special. I mean, we were taught all our lives.
Yeah.
We were special, and we were God's special people. So when Mother got sick, I was like, God, I just wouldn't believe that she was going to die. And so when Father called and told me she was at the hospital and she's about to die, I was like, I just started crying. I was like, why would God do that to me? Like, why would he do that to me? I remember feeling like that doesn't happen to us. And then it did. It all happened. And I think going through that experience opened my mind that we are not exempt from anything. And we may even be, now that I've left and everything, we may have been very unlucky. Lots of bad stuff can happen to us. And the second we believe that something will never happen to us, it happens to us. And no one can think that everyone's going to have their hard experience. And I think we're lucky in a way because I think people that go through the most hard experience, they get to make a choice. They can be a really awful person because, they have this excuse that they had an awful life. Or they can be a really awesome person because they had all that experience to teach them a lot about wisdom.
Yeah.
And I think we can take it and turn it that way or else we're going to feel really sorry for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't, it's just so insane to me because right now you still have a big group of Dad's family that 100% believes he is this divine person and they listen to his trainings every day. And it's so insane to me that I'm just coming out of, I've been out for a while now, but I'm coming out of realizing or that mentality. And I don't know, like they're all still doing all this. How come they can't see it?
I think some of them can. I think some of them know. But what they can't let go of is we're the prophet's family. If we leave, we're nobody. We're the prophet's family. Right now in their world, they are the most special people. If they leave, they're absolutely nobody. In fact, they're part of a really bad person. If they leave and accept that, they have to accept that, wow, I had a really bad dad.
Yeah.
It's a really bad life to have to admit that. But guess what? That's where you got to pick yourself up and make it better. I don't know. I think it's tough. And I know, and when I talk about that, people are always like, Rachel, why don't you change your name? Take Jeffs out of your name. Okay. But it's really hard for me to leave little Rachel behind because she went through a whole lot of shit.
Yeah, people have asked me that too because I changed my name. They're like, why didn't you take Jeffs out? I kind of think of it like Dad does not define Jeffs. We do. I know he had
just
that
one
name,
person, but almost every family has a bad person in their family. Is everyone in every family going to go change all their names because one person in their family was bad? whatever. I mean, we can change our name if we choose. I'm fine with that. I didn't mind not being a Jeffs for a while, but I also, if I need that, that's what I'm known by. That's what I'm known by. I mean, I can be the person I choose to be.
Yeah, I agree. It's just so insane to me that when I listened to your book the first time, I just didn't things just did not click, you know.
Well, it's because every drop of you is like, no, no, no. And you were told for years, Rachel's lying, Rachel's lying, Rachel's lying. Apostates lie, apostates lie, apostates lie. So to get that out of your head was like probably super tough.
Yeah, I remember in 2020, then I was driving. We were going over to see Mother Nat in the hospital, and Rich A called me, and he was over living in Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
and we were it was right when Jake was leaving.
Okay.
And we were talking about a bunch of the boys leaving, and Rich was telling me, he says, I know Rachel better than anyone, and
is this going to hurt? It'll probably hurt.
I'm sorry.
No, say it.
He says, and you trust me, you do not want to believe what she says. Anyway, he says that to me.
I think probably, but what's interesting is Father literally admitted to Rich that he had done that. So Rich knew. So he probably was like, if you listen to Rachel, you're going to leave because it's true. But the truth is, he knew it was true because Father admitted it to him.
Yeah, I remember when
But Father had told us to never speak of it. So probably he felt like, I've got to protect you guys from the truth of what Rachel has to say.
Uh-huh. Well, I was pretty close with Rich, and we were, I was living with him when you left,
mm-hmm.
and that was painful. I mean, he really wanted to call you. He kept asking if he could call you, but
that was the only person that I would talk to.
Yeah.
I told Isaac that's the only person I would talk to. And do you know what Isaac said? Rachel, I tried to convince Richard to call you even though your father said not to.
And he wouldn't.
Isaac told me that, and he still wouldn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Richard.
Yeah, I really liked Rich.
I know,
I was
he was
good
cool.
friends with him.
Did he cry?
Oh, I'm sure he cried. He was going through it when you left.
Good. He should have talked to me. He would have left if he would have talked to me.
Yeah.
Because I would have told him that it didn't only happen to me.
That's what's so insane, though, is he's in this kind of spiritual thing. He's big on Dad's spirituality. You know, he's really big on
He's too trusting, and he's too much of a follower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing that he chose our father over his father when his father was kinder and our father was so terrible, and he knows it. I think the most shocking thing about Rich is Warren literally admitted to Rich that he sexually abused me.
Oh, uh-huh.
He literally admitted it, and Rich was just like, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to lose my testimony.
Yeah. Just so the audience knows, Rich was Rachel's husband.
First polygamist husband.
Yeah,
I was his third wife.
Yeah. It was an arranged marriage by Dad, and that story was pretty crazy, too.
And I had 5 kids with him.
5 kids with Rich, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I remember him thinking, like, they were thinking about, should we go and try to get the kids? Should we, he was having dreams about God sending, or like the judgment's happening and he somehow gets the kids. I think he was going to all kinds of justifications to think of how he could get these kids back in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it probably really crushed him. Well, also around that time, Sarah took her children.
Oh.
Shortly after that. So I think, right before that, I can't remember, sometime in there. So a lot of his kids were taken out of the FLDS. And so probably for him, it was like shocking. And I don't know, I can see it from his lens where he's very loyal and faithful. But at the same time, I'm like, get your head on your shoulders. how is God going to save you if you do nothing to help out with your kids? Or, I don't know, it's just so crazy. And if you said you loved us, why would you not do anything to be with us?
Yeah.
I know in his mind it's like, well, I'll be with you in heaven, or all this crazy stuff. And you're just like, yeah, that's
he's
not
so
how it
loyal.
works. Yeah.
And that fundamentally, I hate that about the FLDS, where we all got to the mindset where nobody cared, nobody mattered.
That's what I think Warren on purposely was breaking people apart enough. He did. He broke us apart enough, like separated us, everybody, so much that you started having this ice heart. Like, I'm not going to let myself love anybody because they're going to be taken from me. So everybody started not caring about each other more and more and more. And I think as we leave, we have to overcome that, because you still feel that ice sometimes and that lack of love. And you're just like, okay, it'll take a few years for everyone to warm up again, because they've been trained for so long to put ice around their hearts so they don't love anybody anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the fundamental things about Rich is like he has such a nice heart. He doesn't even feel like it. He's so loyal to the kingdom of God that he does not even take people into consideration anymore at all. Mm-hmm. I was in a hard time, and Dad said that me and Mother and Barb were bad. Mm-hmm. Then I called him because we couldn't make our payments, and somebody called him and told him what Dad said, and the next day he had agreed to help me, and just with like $2,000.
Yeah.
And then he just wouldn't even talk anymore.
I heard that he was pretty well off, at least doing well for himself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shame on him for letting us go hungry.
I'm so surprised that you haven't got child support.
I know.
That's insane after all these years.
I've tried, but it's just been a journey because he's so far away.
Yeah. So when does this kind of stop with Dad? It's when you're 12?
No, 16.
Oh.
I mean, when I got 12, when I turned 12 and my body started changing, he started treating me different, like punishing me in really weird mind games that didn't make sense. I didn't understand why he was suddenly so rude to me. He started touching the other girls more, which I found out later. So it happened less. I was just confused at why he was treating me so mean. I remember I just went through a very emotional time through that 12, 13, 14 stage, because he was just he would take all the other girls somewhere and not me. And, he was always on me that I was trying to get boys to look at me, and if I did my hair a certain way or anything. And none of the other girls, he didn't treat any of the other girls like that, only me. And so it was just very confusing. I mean, Becky, sometimes he'd stick in the same group as me, so she'd get punished too with me sometimes. So we were both the bad girls, But it came to where it still happened until I was 16, and I just stood up to him. I finally wrote the note one night when he had taken us to Red Lobster that night or something, or I can't remember. He had had us come in that room. He had had me come in his room, and he was just being weird, making me sit right by him, trying to just do all the creepy things he did, and I just got up and walked out. And I just remember sitting there thinking, I'm 16, I'm a big girl, I don't have to put up with this, And then I went in, and all the girls were in our room, and I wrote a note to him about how much I hated what he's doing. And obviously we weren't taught words like sexual abuse or molest or rape or anything. We never knew words like that. All we knew was commit adultery. That's the extent in my head that it was. I even have a picture of me writing that note, actually. I was very mad that the girls were all in my room, that one of them took a picture of me while I was writing that note. I was angry at him. And I went and put it under his door, and then I felt so scared after that I went and tried to get it back, but he had already taken it.
That's a crazy picture. Right? It's like, damn, that's when you decided to do that.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to me. I cannot believe how into this religion I was for so long. It's so insane.
What's interesting? When grandfather died, because father had admitted to Rich by then that he had done what he had done to me. Richard said to me, well, we know there's not a prophet, because we knew he was basically saying Warren couldn't be the prophet because he did what he did to you. we just will have to live by principle now. So he literally said to me that he didn't believe Warren could be the prophet, but we'll just live by principle. And I think what changed his mind was Isaac Jeffs, because he cared so much about Isaac Jeffs that he decided to believe him. But he was very adamant that Warren couldn't be the prophet at that time.
Yeah, I remember a lot of dad's trainings at the end say something like, if you need this, then talk to my daughter Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept me close.
How did you feel through those times because this had stopped, right?
Yeah, I just 18. Was like trusted that he had asked my forgiveness. I mean, no, he'd asked me to forgive him. He never said I'm sorry, but he'd asked me to forgive him, and I guess I just went with this faith that it would never happen again. And what I realized is he thought, because when I did offer to be his school assistant, because I was just like, he's over it, we're good.
Yeah.
He gave me his key, and I didn't think about this for even years after I left. He gave me the key to his bedroom, and he's like, come in my room anytime you want, Now I look at it, I was like, that was super creepy. Like, he was like, and I just remember thinking, why would I come in your room ever at any time? And he's like, day or night. I'm like, this is weird, but I didn't think twice of it because, he's being good, whatever. And then I realized, after I had the key for like 4 months, I never used it. Then he came one night and he's like, you never, like, in a really feel bad way. I was very confused. He's like, you never used that key. Give it back to me. And I just remember thinking, okay, I mean, what would I use it for? I was so naive. I just didn't, children don't think like that about their dad. So it's just, whatever he was thinking, I never thought. So it was very confusing in the way he treated me. I was so naive. I really was really innocent. I just didn't think like that. I don't feel like I could relate to him because I did not think the way he thought. So I gave it back. I didn't care. Big deal. I mean, sure, have it back. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I think what's crazy, and now that I've been out long enough and I've learned so many stories and learned so much, the truth was he thought I was going to come find him or something creepy. I mean, he just had that obsession, and it wasn't a father-daughter relationship in his mind. For me, it was. He was ugly to me. I didn't care for him like that. It's just so weird that he ever felt that way, when for me it was like, yeah, I have a weird father. I'm embarrassed of him. I know every man isn't like this. Oh, well.
What's crazy is that none of those other men could see through it.
I know.
Like Uncle Fred. I mean, I guess he's debatable, but
everybody just...
Uncle Merrill, Grandfather Merrill.
Because he put on that front, preaching exact opposite of what he was doing.
Well, if anybody would have done what he did, they would have been so...
Well, even the thing is, all his wives have to... I think the hardest thing with people following him now is there's so much testimony of how bad he was. His wives have told how he was doing exact opposite of what he was teaching with them sexually. He's making them watch pornography, all these terrible things, making them touch underage girls, all this stuff. He was doing terrible things to underage girls. There's so much testimony that for someone to follow him now is literally insanity. There's so much testimony.
And they're still do.
I know.
Sometimes, like, someone like Hedeman, he knows.
Oh, he knows.
He knows.
He's literally admitted that he knows, and that, Heavenly Father forgave him. This is his excuse. Heavenly Father forgave him because he's suffered so much in prison. I don't care how much he's suffered. He hasn't suffered near what he's put other people through.
Yeah, I feel like until like Hedeman, for example, now he has a couple wives. It's really hard for him to come to terms with that. It's harder than it was for me.
Especially that he had married an underage girl.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is how underage was she?
15.
She was 15. That's crazy. I mean...
And he had sex with her at 15.
Yeah, because they had a child.
Well, she had a miscarriage first, but... Yeah.
Oh, did she? Wow. It just keeps happening.
Yeah. but once you follow in his footsteps, insane. How would you deny him because you've done the exact same thing as him? Then how do you... He He could say, I was wrong, I did wrong, I feel so bad that I did that, I realize Warren's a terrible person, I'm going to make life better. That doesn't mean he don't have to take care of his wives and children. I don't think he should sleep with 5 of them at one time or anything, but however many he has. But I think he should take care of them, and I think he should admit that he messed up because he was doing what Warren supposedly was telling him to do. I think he went a little further than what he was told. But
he wasn't really told to.
Right.
That's the thing.
So I think he could turn it around, though. I think he has a chance to.
Yeah, I think he could turn it around. You're saying his life.
Yeah, he could. He could say Warren was wrong. All this was bad. I don't want to be that person. I don't know how far, but I think everyone should have to suffer a little for at least hurting anybody, but
yeah, it's so insane because I used to be such good friends with him.
Everybody did. Everybody loved him so much. Rich loved him so much. I thought he was amazing. He worked so hard. I think there was so much good in him, which kind of made people put so much love and trust in him that maybe all that love and trust hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, well, one of the crazy things, just thinking back on it all, is like, I kind of am really grateful that I was kind of kicked out and not. Because I can so see myself. I
so agree with you, Neve.
I can so see myself there with those boys in the kind of same mindset if I hadn't been kind of punished away.
Well, that's what I always say to the girls. I say this to Melanie all the time. I feel so lucky that I was treated bad as I was. After I told Richard what Father did to me, then he started keeping me away from the family. Now, he was worried I was going to tell people. So he started keeping me from the family and treating me like I was bad and all this. If I hadn't have told Richard, I wouldn't have been treated that way. But because I told somebody, then he started treating me this way. And I'm so grateful he did, because then it made me realize how the difference of Warren treating people good or bad. It had nothing to do with you're good or bad or anything like that. I knew it was just what he decided, I knew for me, it was just what his own guilt. And I couldn't place it all the way. It still took me years to come to it, leaving, but I still deep in my heart knew that's why he kept me away from the family. And that I felt like the family would never know.
He really did keep you kind of away. I remember when you came to have your baby in 2005 or 6 or something, I did not even realize that you were our sister.
I know.
I was like, what? This is our sister and she has a couple children? That's crazy. I was like 7 or 8 or 8 or something.
Yeah, he really kept me away.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What did you think when Dad became the prophet? You knew all this stuff about him, but I guess, did you still look at him as the prophet?
Me and Rich were at the hospital when Grandfather died.
Really?
Yeah, we were there.
Wow.
To all that. Warren was the only one in the room when he died, so I don't know exactly what happened there. But we were out in the waiting room, and then Warren came out, and I think of Warren's face now, and it was really weird. Like, he tried to put on the show that he was emotional and sad. And maybe he was. I don't know. I think he was a great player. And I think from that point on, he already had a plan of how he was going to take over. He had lied to us for years that Grandfather was going to be renewed just to keep us faithful. I don't know. Just so many crazy things. But I don't know. I think he, right off, he's like, hands off my father's wives. Well, then he goes and marries them all. He had a plan in place. And the way he used all these other people to testify that he's the prophet, put things in their heads, whatever, or they wanted to please him, so they would make up these crazy stories of why he was the prophet. And he used them to tell us that he was the prophet. Well, right up front, like I said, on the way home from the hospital when Grandfather died, Rich was like, yeah, there's not a prophet. We'll just live by principle. And I was like, yeah, that's good. Father couldn't be the prophet because of what he did to me. I knew that. You can't be next to God and do that kind of stuff. In my head, that's how it was. So when Isaac and Naomi and all these people started saying that Father was the prophet, I was like, really? I don't know. I never truly believed he was a good person. In my heart, I never did. I would always wonder. And so, like, even when he went to prison, when I got told he went to prison, the very first thing that popped in my head, the very first thing was almost a voice. See, Rachel, he does have to suffer for what he did to you. That was the very first thing that came in my head. It wasn't even a question that he didn't deserve it. I didn't feel bad.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
but you can't tell anyone. Like, I remember even as a child when the sexual abuse was happening, I just thought nobody would believe me. And then one time I told Mother, she just kind of had to brush it away and act like nothing. It was so confusing. For a child, you just feel like you feel so alone. And so even to have Warren become the prophet, and you know all these bad things, but you just feel like no one will ever listen to me. No one will ever believe me, because he puts on such a good front.
Yeah, do you think that Warren Jeffs partially did believe he was this called of God person?
I think because that I look over his life and how he's always felt like everything is everyone else's fault. I think from a child he was believed he was special and different. And so I think in his mind he has convinced himself that he is this chosen person. This man, basically now he says he is God. You know, he has convinced himself. And I think so many criminals are typical of this, where they don't believe they do wrong, but oh yeah, other people can do the same thing and they're terrible people.
Yeah.
But I am different. I'm chosen. I'm special. That's how Warren thinks. And I think all criminals are like that way. They just think they're different and they're more special and they can get away with it. Or they lie to themselves that they didn't really do it, or they didn't have bad intentions, you know.
Yeah.
Or they're God's gift to women. Of course, every child and woman should want them. I mean, you know, things like that. I think he convinced himself that he was this chosen person, at least throughout his life. And I don't know. I don't really think he could possibly believe in Jesus at this point, because he's denied him in prison so much. So I don't even, I just think he's a terrible person. But he just puts himself above God. And I think he always has. I think anyone who would do terrible things like that would have to, I don't know. I don't even want to go where their brain goes, but it's just, if I think about it.
Yeah, it has been a serious mind fuck for me, because I remember sitting in 2011, I got the priesthood and I went to visit Warren Jeffs, and he gave this somewhat compelling revelation, from Jesus Christ.
He could speak, I'll tell you that. And gosh, he had a memory like no other. Dates, times, everything. I actually remember thinking, how do you do that? It's so crazy. And he could remember things and just give a sermon off the top of his head. I mean, gosh, that was crazy how he could do that. But he could speak, and it wasn't like he wasn't charismatic, really. He wasn't charismatic, but his little words got in people's heads.
Yeah.
And played with their minds.
Yeah, it's so insane. So then he becomes the prophet, and you kind of come to accept that with Rich. What is do you and Rich have a conversation like, we know?
No, we didn't really. It was more just like, oh, we better accept this because everybody else is, or else we're going to be fucked, I guess. You know? Else everyone's going to disown us. So we kind of just went along with everybody. We didn't have a conversation. Rich did bring up a few times, once he even said, I want to know more about the sexual abuse. And then he's like, no, I don't want my testimony to be heard. And I was just confused, like, okay. But no, I think we just went along with it. We realized to stay a part of everything. And then when Warren started making everything so secret, and he used Rich a lot, so Rich felt special, all that kind of stuff. And then he started the whole secret thing, I think, was very master manipulative, to make people to want to know the secrets and to be a part of it. They felt like they were being left out. Warren did that to keep people faithful.
Things were so secret at the time of the mission.
Yeah,
2002.
It was so crazy.
That's one of the things I wondered about Rich is, if you are that young and you get given 3 wives And I do think he was fairly responsible at that point, but then you also get to always help the prophet in your drive. You're going to have a hard time changing your mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get handed bishoprics and counselor, you're all kinds of positions, and you're right next to him, and yeah, all that stuff. And he start maybe getting a big head, like, I am pretty special. I mean,
yeah.
But the only reason he was getting all those positions is because he knew what Warren had done.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been the position he was if it wasn't for you.
No, he wouldn't have. And then once I left, he's been nothing. Once I left,
he has been nothing.
He has been thrust to the wind, never thought twice of.
That's true. He's been gone from his family since shortly after you left, and never been called back or anything.
I know. And now Warren accuses him of murdering me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just over being faithful. Yeah, it's so insane.
I know.
God.
It's really sad. It's really sad. I mean, it's so sad that he has chosen to not be in his kid's life. And yeah, it's just really sad that he would do that.
Yeah, so then the mission starts and your mother dies. Was that like kind of a breaking point in your life? I'm just trying to understand like if your mindset changed during that time.
I remember feeling upset. Well, okay, like I said, I remember that was the point where I was like, oh, that can't happen to me. And realizing anything can happen to me. Kind of coming to that. I'm not anybody specialer than anyone else. We're going to have hard experience. But I think more than anything, what happened at that point was the realization, like, I was feeling very upset at Father because Father made the whole funeral about him and kept saying how bad Mother was, and then didn't really let us children be a part of it. You know how generally in funerals we had the family sits out there and shake, especially the children, shake everybody's hand at the viewing. Everyone gets recognized as, well, not recognized, everyone gets treated like, we're sorry that this happened, you know. And for us, it was like, throw you in the corner, pretend, you just be tough. Warren was like, poor me, I'm the picked on one. Throw all the kids that lost their mother in the corner, because that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, can we tell this story a little bit more? Because you and Ammon, her children, were in Short Creek.
Yeah.
And she had cancer, and she was in Short Creek, and then she gets called down to R17, and you guys stay, and some of her younger children are down there. This is the whole time of like mega worthiness.
Well, because she got her children taken away.
That's right.
She got her children taken away, and then so she didn't have her little children. So me and Ammon were with her the most. Melanie was through that time too. And then
after she had cancer, so she had cancer, and then that whole deal where Dad took all his children away.
Right.
Oh, I wonder how she felt.
Well, everybody says that she just went over when he had all the mothers gathered around and he told them that was going to happen. He came up to her and she went up and she started crying, and she kind of put her arms around him. She's like, Warren, you can't do this to me. I might die. I might never see the children again. And he just was like, this is your test, all this. But the Mother Annette said it was very emotional for her to watch Mother go through that, and it made some of the other mothers cry as well to watch Mother go through that. But he was very heartless. That's all I can say. Took her kids away. We were with her, and then right at the brink of her getting very sick and getting close to death, then he lets her go back to her children in Texas.
He says that proves her worthy.
Yeah, that she had suffered enough. He tells me and Ammon we weren't worthy to be with her in Texas. Yeah, we cried. That was tough. We were late sleeping in a hotel. I'd be like, Ammon, when you're trying to sleep and you can't sleep.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, what? And I was like, just seeing if you're awake. Then he'd be like, Rachel, what? Just seeing if you're awake. I am. We were just all night. We couldn't sleep. But that morning, then Warren let us get trained. I was 7 months along. It was the most miserable time of my life because I was driving for so many hours. We had to drive halfway back to Short Creek to meet Warren to get the trainings, then drive back to Texas, It was a
so
very long
insane.
journey.
It's like your mother's dying.
I was in the back seat of a Durango, and if you know how uncomfortable Durango seats are, it's very uncomfortable. It was just so emotional. It was just such a terrible time. It's hard to even realize it was real.
It's so insane that somebody couldn't be like, Warren Jeffs, your wife is dying, and she's almost to like get to a point with her brain that she can't talk to her children anymore. And there's not time for these guys to go get these dumbass trainings that you're trying to give them just so they can see her.
Yeah.
Because when you guys got back...
She was unconscious, yeah.
Yeah, she was... So you never talked to her again. It's like,
right.
What? So insane, Dad.
Yeah, I know. It was so rude. And he didn't care. That shows how heartless he was. I remember thinking at that time, he's really heartless. I didn't feel like he cared about Mother. He wasn't there. She never talked to him before she was unconscious either. He got there after she was unconscious.
Oh.
He didn't care. It was the weirdest thing. And then the whole funeral's about, poor me, I've suffered this terrible loss. He's like...
Yeah, he's like, I was on the Lord's errand and my wife
and
was not more important.
Yeah. When all he was doing was watching porn with underage girls.
Oh my God. Naomi Jessup has to be one of, I mean, her whole deal. Was like insane. I mean, it kind of, I think, messed her up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think for sure. I think mostly just you have all this competition, and for her, I think she was a master a little bit at make it. I don't know. I don't want to accuse her. I think the most thing is, I just think for all these women to be fighting over this, they all want his attention, and she figured out how to get it.
Uh-huh.
She figured it out.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a healthy way, and I think she learned his obsession for kids and maybe fed on that a little bit.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to talk to her about that.
I'd like you to, I think.
Yeah, I think she will. I think she'll talk.
I think it was a victim of circumstance for sure. I think she was.
Yeah. But she went through some insane things. Okay, so your mother dies. What does Rich say at that time to you? Is he like...
Be a big girl.
Oh.
I mean, he was of the same mind. You know, he was just going to be loyal to Warren. He was just on that mission. Everything was about... No, yeah. He was kind. He was very kind to me.
Yeah, he was kind, but...
He was kind to me. I mean, I think for us, we had come back together. We had been separated for a while because I was in Crick and he was on the mission. So it was kind of like, a romantic time for us to come back together. I had a new baby shortly after that. There's lots of growing experiences with polygamy. Wow, just...
I was thinking about polygamy. It's insane how the FLDS have made so that you just cannot have close connections in any way. You know, you can't
truly be your husband's best friend when he's sleeping with other women. I'm just going to say that because he's not being your best friend because he's not being honest with you. I mean, yeah, in that sense, we're all in it together, but I'm sorry that every time he goes and sleeps with another woman, you feel cheated on. Every single time. You can't not. It's not real. And I don't know, it just... Now that I think about sharing a dick with other women, I don't know. It's just gross, but... Mostly, it's like...
I think that beyond just the sexual, it's fundamentally...
Well, because he has to lie to each wife to make them feel like they're loved.
Yeah.
And he can't tell you what's going on with the other wives because then he's going to lose their trust. So then he's in this island. He's on this island, and all these women are around it, trying to get on it, but they can't truly be on it with him because then they'll know too much about each other. So there's no best friend. He's an island. None of them can truly be his best friend.
And I think one of the weird things is I think all men kind of want someone that they're really close with, that they connect with.
I think so too. I think they want a best friend.
I think that's kind of what Naomi Jessup was for Dad. And some of these men, they seem to never find it, and so they disconnect a little bit, it seems like.
And I think so too.
And that's what makes the women in their life, because they can't tend all these emotions. And so they're kind of like, well, I'm just going to be this dude, and I'm just going to work. I'm going to keep a schedule, and this is how we're doing it.
But they don't. I mean, Rich never had a schedule, a sleeping around schedule. You didn't have a schedule. It was like, I feel like this wife tonight. Well, I'm going to have that wife tonight. I want her for 10 nights. I'm going to have her for 10 nights. I mean, or it was like, well, they're all mad at me for sleeping with her. I won't sleep with her for a few weeks, and show them that I didn't favor her, or, you know, I mean, it was more like that. But, or I'll sneak through her window. I mean, you know, it's just craziness all the way around. It's just so crazy. And there's just, you can't truly get close. I know it. I've had other connections. I've had other relationships, and it's just not the same as polygamy. Is so hurtful. You can't be, I think I really honestly believe Richard loved me the most. I really do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still felt cheated on, and I didn't feel like, I mean, I think it got to a point where I knew I was at peace that I was his favorite. I did. And I was fine if I didn't get all his attention. But it was still that hurt and that pain that he's sleeping with other women. Or I'd be like, I remember one time when he was like, Rachel, come shower with me. And I knew he had slept with a different wife that night. I don't remember how I knew. But I was really obvious to him. I was pregnant at the time, and he was very much about not having relationships with a pregnant wife because he was told to not to. And I said, you can't, I was in the shower, and he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, you can't think I don't know what you did last night. And he's like, Rachel, I don't treat any of my wives as good as you. I don't shower with any of my wives, you know, just all this stuff. And I was like, I know. I still know what you did last night, you know?
Yeah, it's like, you gotta give it a day, dude.
I just felt creeped out. I don't know. I was like, are you dirty? I don't want to be by you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No kidding.
It's just, it's not easy. I think there's nothing natural about polygamy. A man cannot take care of that many women and children, truly, unless he's super wealthy. And what we decide it's right because we're wealthy. I mean, seriously, it doesn't make sense. It hurts the kids. He can't have a relationship with that many kids.
Yeah, one of the things about Dad's family is it's one of the only polygamous families that has more wives than children.
Yeah, true.
And like 30 more.
So we had lots of servants. Those kids were very tended.
Oh, yeah. But like, even Dad's family before, it had way more children than he did wives.
Most of their life, yeah.
Yeah. Not most of mine.
Yeah, but most of my life.
Actually, it's any of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were born.
Yeah, when I was born, he had more wives.
Yeah,
more children. Yeah. Okay. But definitely, like, it changed in like 3 years.
Yeah, because he got 10 in a year, and then after that, he got so many every
He married
year.
all his father's family, just boatload of mothers everywhere.
Yes. but then he didn't treat them like wives. Most of them were servants. The few special, really special ones had kids, and then a few special that didn't have kids. But most of them were just, you're the slave in the kitchen, you're the slave on the kids, you're the slave outside in the garden. I mean, that's all it was for them. I don't know why they're still faithful after all that. I think one thing that is important to note for everyone, and I think especially the people that still live there, is everyone that was really close to Warren in general has left because they know how bad he is.
Yeah. And one of the things he was big on is all the other prophets' children have left. And that's what he was saying is like, look at Brigham Young's, look at Joseph Smith's children, look at all their children. They all left. None of the prophets. And he's like, I want my children to be different. And it's like, Dad.
Maybe they're all a little fucked up.
I know, exactly. It's like, okay.
Maybe people knew exactly what they're doing. I'm sorry, even the introduction of polygamy, I go read Lucy Walker's story. Why, of all the women in this world, did Lucy Walker get told, you can't choose who you marry, and if you don't marry me, you'll be damned? She was underage. She had sent away her father on a mission. I mean, it's a for her, it's a testimony. She thinks it's a testimony, but for me, I read it and I see Warren Jeffs written all over it.
100%. I cannot see the difference between Joseph Smith and Warren Jeffs.
I can't either.
Well, I've got to ask you about this. Mother, you said that when Mother got married, then this abuse that was happening to you kind of stopped.
For a while, yeah. Because your mother was really special to Warren. I don't know why. I remember him I was this little girl. I wasn't very old. I was 10 maybe. And he came and told me personally, like, he was so happy he was getting Mother Monica for a wife. It was weird, like, okay, he's getting this new wife. And he was obsessed with her. And he was, and he left me alone, and I was so happy. He was obsessed with a wife. I remember that was the first wife that Mother Annette and Mother Barbara really struggled with, because it was the first wife they really felt like he loved past them, you know. So she was really special to him. I think she always was, for the most part. I think she got too much of his attention, because I remember her getting sick of him and started telling him off and would get mad at him. Like, I'd never seen any of his wives do. Like, she would say rude things to him, like she was pissed at him and stuff.
Wow.
And I had never seen any of his wives do that. And I just remember thinking, she's getting too much attention. I kind of felt like I knew how that felt.
Wow.
And so I thought, she's sick of him. He's annoying.
Yeah.
But yes, I remember, like, when she was pregnant with you and Barbie and through all that time, and she was just pissed at him. Yeah, but he always kept her with him for a long time. He was really into her.
Yeah, he mind fucked a lot of people, and I don't know if she would like me to say this, but I think over time, I think he loved her ambitious spirit. If everybody in the creek somehow knows Mother. It's like she was
just a really cheerful, happy-go-lucky, innocent. She was just a really good person.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he liked that about her. She was tiny. She was tiny.
She was.
He probably liked that, too. I mean, all kinds of creepy stuff, but he was obsessed with her. And she was a really sweet person. And I wouldn't say she was, like, the most beautiful of all his wives, but she was so fun and happy, and character wins every time. Right. And she was cute.
Especially when she was that young. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was pretty, and I don't know, I think, yeah, he was obsessed.
And what I noticed, though, is over the years, well, in 2012, when he started punishing people, all these people that he was with when he was younger, he isolated and suffocated. And Mother was one of them. He isolated her and suffocated her and wouldn't talk to her. And why all these people? But I think
it's some of the guilt and shame he felt about how he treated those people, and he took it out on them. He didn't treat her good. I bet you I'm certain he was sexually abusive to her by how she was treating him. I think she was done with it. So maybe that guilt and shame.
That's crazy. She hasn't ever told me that she was upset with him. Or
maybe that guilt and shame he was putting back on her. Because I think he did that to all of us that he hurt. I very much believe that. I don't think she would. Maybe she doesn't even know how much he was abusive to her. I don't believe she actually could recognize it. She just thinks, oh, I was married to him and I had to let him do whatever the Lord told him to do. I mean, you know. But guarantee you, he was sexually abusive.
Yeah. I wonder, what do you think about some of Dad's younger wives that were really in with the sexual stuff, kind of, but still to this day really defend Dad? To me, I think of someone like
that.
I think
anyone that, if they enjoyed it, I think the difference where you can separate the women that were a part of it that hated it and felt guilty and wanted to not be a part of it versus the ones that enjoyed it and promoted it and wanted to be a part of it. That's the separation. And any of them that loved it or wanted to be a part of it or enjoyed it and obviously enjoyed touching the young girls and stuff, I think they're on a whole nother level of evil. I do. And I think those ones are more supportive and faithful to Warren than the ones who hated it and the ones who knew it was wrong and didn't want to be a part of it. I think they're quicker to leave because something in their soul was telling them something was really messed up.
Yeah, it's so insane.
But for the underage girls that are still faithful, that's a whole different story because they're just messed up.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask you about is you have people like just Mother Marianne and those girls that are so very faithful to this day. And, you know, I don't know if she was involved in the court trial, but, you know, there's pictures online and stuff. And she's one of the more talked about ones, and she's Mother's sister. Why is she so faithful?
Because he took advantage of a very innocent mind and convinced her that she loved him. You know, she's very conditioned. She's very mind fucked. I don't know how to say it. No, she's just very conditioned. So she's conditioned to believe she loves him. He was the first one to take advantage of her. I mean, she knows nothing else, and so she thinks she loves him. She believes that it's love and that he loved her. He told her he loved her. She thinks he did love her. He didn't love anybody but himself. Why would he hurt a child except for he only loves himself?
Well, what did you think in 2007 when Warren Jeffs said, "I'm not the prophet"? Did you hear those messages?
I didn't hear those. They didn't tell us, most of us people.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't in the family and stuff. I did hear it when I came to visit at Father's house, and the family told me. And I just remember thinking, he's not the prophet. I mean, you know, just think he's bad, but I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't feel like I could tell anyone. What I didn't believe was that Willie Jessup was the prophet, because I'm like, how can someone that's not the prophet say who is the prophet? I mean, you know, I remember thinking, he's fucked up too. I mean, you know, I'm just like, it's all messed up. But I didn't feel like I could tell the family what Father did. I didn't feel like it. I didn't ever feel like I could tell anyone what Father did until Becky was the first one I told. Because
were you struggling with the whole religion still, right? And just unsure if this is right?
I think the reason I told Richard, which was the first person I told, was because I felt like he needed to understand me, and I didn't feel like we could truly be close if he didn't know, and I wanted to be close to him.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, you got married to him, and
yeah. And then with the reason I told Becky, because I wasn't going to tell anyone else, because I just felt like no one would believe me anyway. The reason I told Becky is because Father kept telling her she was a terrible mother. And so she broke down, and I was very angry at him for tearing her down and making her break down. And so I told her, you have got to quit thinking you're a bad person, because Father's done way worse things than you, and he's still considered a good father. And she's like, what do you mean, Rachel? And so I told her. And then she's like, you should have apostatized, you know, all this stuff. And that's her first response. And you've got to tell Isaac. And she literally dialed Isaac's number and forced me to tell Isaac. I told Isaac. Isaac was very, shocked. And then he asked Father. And then Father sent me a message, not through Isaac, through Mother Aura.
Oh.
And said, if you tell anyone, you will be accountable to me and the Lord. Every person you tell, and you will be punished, basically. And he made me not be a member and everything because he found out that I told Becky. He didn't know I told Becky. Becky didn't tell him. Isaac told him that I told him.
I see.
And so then he didn't give that message through Isaac. He gave it to Mother Aura, because in the message it said, you can tell no one about your relationship with me when you were younger. It said that in the message, so I knew Mother Aura knew. And then...
oh, I wonder what to think about her.
Yeah, and so then I was like, okay. So then I was scared to tell anyone, because I didn't want him to take my kids away again, because he had already taken my kids away. And then he still did after that. But yeah, so I was just mostly scared that he's going to take my kids away. But it really, really wasn't up until Nora told me, because all this time I'm like, well, there just must have been something bad about me that made him do it, because if he really is the prophet, and I'm trying so hard to believe, because if I don't, then I'll lose everything, my family, everything. But then when Nora told me that he did it to her, that was just all I needed. I needed to know that he had done it to one other person, because as a child, you can't place it. So when
Yeah,
you realize it's his issue, he's done it to multiple people. Obviously, I knew he had done it to the 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
So that kind of, but then he had the justification that he was married to him, right? So then it still messes with your head.
Yeah, I have to say that all through growing up, us boys looked at you older girls and were like, something is wrong, because those guys can do whatever they want
Yes.
and not get corrected. If we did anything like that, if Levi did, if any of the boys did, they would be gone in a heartbeat. You guys could do anything you wanted.
But
You were
didn't you
always getting
see
stuff.
that Father treated us more special than the mothers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He treated us, and the mothers were jealous of us because he treated his daughters more special than his wives. And you know, his girl classes, and spent so much time. I mean, he took us to Red Lobster once a week, every single week. And the boys, nothing. The wives, nothing. It was just the girls. And it was weird. It was weird because he didn't treat his boys special at all. And he treated his girls way too special that the mothers were jealous. I remember even Mother Shannon coming to me. She's like, Rachel, how is it to be loved like a wife and to be treated like a wife? How is it? How is it to have everybody jealous of you? And I looked at her. And I says, I do not think of Father the way, I don't love him like you do. I don't care for him like that.
Did Dad love her a lot when she got married?
When she got married, yeah, she was special for a minute.
Yeah.
Not as long as your mom, though.
Yeah, so my mom was kind of special, and then after that,
Mother Shannon,
and
then Vicky, because Vicky got married after Shannon. That's why Shannon wasn't very long.
Okay, and then
Millie.
Mm-hmm. And then she was pretty special.
And then Aura. And then Mother Aura.
But she was weird because she was older, and she was or was she older?
But when he married Aura, then she was the most special at the time. And then Patricia, and then Naomi. I mean, that's just pretty much how it went. And then they all switched off and on sometimes.
Yeah. And then Vita as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, all the little girls to a degree, and as they got married.
It's so insane to me because I have never seen those guys as little girls. Because I was so young.
Tiny.
I know. It's so
did.
crazy.
They're so much younger than me. I was just like, I know exactly what you're doing to them. I was so mad at Father. It was just really bad dude.
I remember Mother Kate telling us, she taught school down there at R17, and she was telling us...
She was special.
Yeah. She was telling us that Marianne and her sister, I forgot her name, were going to get married to Father.
Ida?
No, she never did.
Oh.
She looked just like her, kind of like Marianne, but they were always together in school and stuff.
Not Betty.
No. But she was telling us before they had ever got married that they were going to get married to Dad. And that was interesting. Looking back on it, it's like, what? You know?
She's probably jealous.
Oh, okay.
Well, so much bad, it really is, and so much. I can't believe Warren got. I don't know. It's just shocking to look at it now and believe how many people he hurt.
I cannot believe we couldn't see more.
Because he was so sneaky and he lied so much and he hid so much of what he was doing. I think, really, because how did I not know that he was sexually abusing all my sisters when I was right there? Yeah. He hid it so good. Only that one night that I woke up and he was undressing Melanie, and I couldn't quite tell. It was so dark. So then I thought, does he think that's me? You know, because he had done it to me so much that I was just like, I was so confused. But then, so I got up and went to the bathroom because I wanted to know I could see him so he wouldn't do it. And then he left. That was the most I wondered if he had done it to anyone else.
Do you think, it seems like he had the ability to really love people to some degree too, which is kind of wild to think about, but...
I will agree with that because I did feel a lot of love from him, and I'm not talking about sexually.
Yeah.
When he was in his sexual abuse mode, it wasn't a love mode. It was him about himself. But there were times, and he would go months and years even without doing stuff to us, but he really acted like he loved me. And
Yeah.
and I feel like he really loved me, Jaden. I really do feel like he loved me. And even through my years in polygamy and some of the hardships I went through with some of my sister wives, he looked out for me in that time. And so I'm not saying, while he's a very terrible person, he still showed at least the ones he loved some love. He also was so rude to some of the other ones. Think of like our brother Roy. He was so rude to him. He never showed love to him. So he could hate as much as he could love.
No, it's so insane. He is such a complicated person in that sense, because that's another thing that Mother would tell me is like, no, he really loved me. I was like, I know.
I think he had his times where he loved her, but I think at another time he didn't. In the end, you look at the whole picture, he loved himself the most.
Yeah.
Maybe he showed love to some of us, but he loved himself the most, and that's where he's so evil, because if everyone else was in danger and him, he's going to drop all of us and protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
We can all go down in the volcano. He's going to save himself.
We kind of, well, kind of have, you know. It's hard on people's mental state. It's really hard. Well, I wanted to ask now about 2010 to 2012 and 13. Those times
when he made everybody live by themselves.
Yeah, they were just insane.
But that's where we all came, especially us that were getting treated really bad. That's where I was like, I'm going to leave. I mean, thank God we went through that. As much as I hated it, it gave me enough time to reason with myself why I should leave. And him separating me from my kids, I was like, my kids shouldn't have to go through this. But no, that was a terrible time. I agree.
But why was it that he started sending so many people away in 2011?
It was right after he got sentenced in Texas, and he realized he wasn't getting out. So he was angry. So he took his anger out on punishing people the way he was getting punished. Suddenly they had to go live alone. But he made it worse. While he had TV and could write and get phone calls and all that, we didn't. We had to live in solitary confinement, basically, with no TV and no writing and no phone. I mean, nothing. He made us be in a harder solitary confinement than him. I mean, obviously, we can go jump over the wall or something, but if we were obeying and doing what he said, we were in a miserable state more than him. I remember while I was living alone in solitary confinement, whatever, I felt like I'm in a deeper prison than Father.
That is a good way to put it, because I think a lot of people, they really felt like they were going insane.
But that's because I feel like he was punishing us because that's what he was going through. And then when he took away sex, well, he wasn't getting sex, so then nobody else can have it. You know, I mean, it was just kind of like that.
Okay, I got to ask you about this. There's this story about the mothers taking this video of them doing like sexual things and then taking it, like somehow showing it to him in prison.
Yes, that is a true story.
That is so, when I heard that, I was just...
And I know it because I know it came from, I've heard it from the very people that were part of it. So yes.
I felt so mind-fucked when I heard that story. Like, oh, I've been getting lectured about not getting masturbated for so long, and you're going to figure out how to get a video in prison? You know? Yeah,
and he's sitting there punishing you guys if you woke up with a hard-on.
Yeah. It's so insane. Well, 2012 days, I call them 2012 days because they were just times of isolation all the way up to 2016.
Sorry, I'm just answering this. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Kind of what was your personal experience in these 2012 days where you were being isolated? Because I know I was isolated some, but I know Mother was isolated seriously.
Yeah. For me, obviously, you know, he first kept accusing me and Richard that we had sex when we were pregnant, because I had several miscarriages.
Why was he so into
everything about sex? But everyone that I know of in the FLDS was having sex when they were pregnant. It's not a big deal. It's not going to hurt the baby. But me and Richard didn't. Richard was too obedient. I'm telling you, he was too obedient. He did not have sex with us when we were pregnant. So for me, it was like, we didn't. And every time we told Father we didn't, he said we were lying. And he would tell us that we'd covenanted to lie about it and everything. Because everybody else was like, yeah, we did. I mean, everybody else did. And I was like, pregnant women are super horny. Yes, I wanted sex when I was pregnant. Richard, what's wrong with you? I mean, yeah, seriously. That could be the best sex of your life. No, but for us, it was like trying to tell Father, no, we're not, we didn't. And so Father was like, tell us we're lying, and wouldn't believe that we didn't, because that makes him look really bad, right? I mean, he'd done terrible things. But no, I think so Father wouldn't believe us. For me, I know for Richard, like, it made him just start feeling like, well, I'll just admit that I did whatever he told me, because God tells him the truth. For me, I'm like, hell no. I'm like, I wrote to Father, and I said, because when Richard's like, when Father said to me, you covenanted with Richard that you wouldn't tell. Oh, and then he had told me to confess that Richard was sexually abusive to me.
Oh.
And I said to him, I wrote back to him and says, I will never say that Richard was sexually abusive to me. I will never say that we had sex when I was pregnant, because God would know that I was lying, and I care what God thinks, and I'm not going to lie. And I was just like, I'm not going to admit to something that didn't happen, because I care what God thinks more than you. And after that, he started hinting like that I would never be with Richard again, or that this was right. And during that time is when Nora called me and told me what Father did to her. And so this is pretty much, my brain was turning like, oh, I'm not going to stay here. He's the bad person. I will never, the night Nora told me that Father did it to her, I said, we're leaving. We're not staying here. We are never trusting. All I can think of is he had hinted that my girls belonged to him and stuff like that. I already knew I was planning on leaving before Ember left to hit 12, because I was never going to trust him with my girls.
So was that the moment that you decided you were going to leave?
When Nora called me that night, we talked all night, and I said to her, we will leave. I says, we will not stay here. I was like, Father is a bad person. We will never trust him with our children. And she agreed. Yes, we'll leave. We don't have to stay here. He's a bad person. I was like, look, he touched us. He got these underage girls. There's something wrong with him. We don't have to stay here. And and both of us were getting punished because we had talked. Well, she had written to Father about, well, I don't understand why you touched me when I was little, or why you made me touch you. And so that's why she was living alone. He was making me live alone because I had told other people, Becky and Isaac, but I don't think he knew I'd told Becky. So that's why I was living alone. And so, we realized we were getting punished because he didn't want us to tell anyone.
Yeah. I feel like when you guys left was kind of a little bit of a shift from when he went from separating his family and isolating them to just sending people away.
And he got angry, and he realized his story was going to get out. And he started accusing us of terrible immoralities because he didn't want anyone to believe what we said.
When you guys left, it's one of those moments in life, in my mind.
It was like a huge tidal wave for the whole FLDS.
It was. It was like one of those things that you didn't know could happen, and then they happened. It's like, what?
I know.
It was so somber and just...
But see, if Warren had never sexually abused us, we would have never. If we truly believed he was a good person, we would have never. But we knew he wasn't. And it took us leaving and telling the truth and having each of the siblings that have left slowly try to hear our story and get an idea that some's messed up. So they want to know the truth. Why would Rachel and Becky and Nora leave? All that. And once you hear that truth, I don't care if it takes you 10 years to believe it. Mm-hmm. Once you hear that truth, it eats on you until you leave.
Yeah.
That's why when I texted the message to Levi, Ammon, Melanie, Marianne, Sandra, Teresa, I think. Anyway, there was a bunch of them.
In 2017.
And I texted and said, Father sexually abused us. That's the first thing I said, because I thought, if nothing else, they have to hear that truth.
Uh-huh.
Some of them have left.
Yeah. Oh, those days were insane. I remember when you guys left. It was just so unbelievable. I could not possibly comprehend that. Like,
and that we wouldn't come back, and that Father was trying so hard to make us come back.
well, I wanted to ask about Roy because he was
He was out first.
he was out first, but he never really was a part of the family.
No, but Father was just, I remember as a little child, Father treated Roy so bad. I remember a 2-year-old walking around with his blanket, and Father would be so mean to him. He's always spanking him, always punishing him for nothing, and just thinking, why does Father hate Roy so much? Why? I was so confused. And that was the first time I thought, I'm so glad I'm Mother Barbara's child, because he hates Roy so much. And he treated Mother Gloria bad too.
It seems like all her life he treated her bad.
And so I was just so confused why he was so mean to him. And really, he was always mean to him. I give Roy so much room because Father was so mean to him. And you know, because Father was mean to him, the family was mean to him.
Oh, yeah.
Because how Father treated the family, how it treated someone, the whole family did. I know because when I was 12 and 13 and my body was changing and Father would treat me bad, the whole family would treat me bad. And or if I didn't please him sexually, then he'd treat me bad and the whole family would treat me bad. I didn't care if he treated me bad. I cared that the family treated me bad because they didn't know why they were treating me bad. And that's what hurt because I loved my family so much. And it would make me do stuff that I didn't want to do for Father because I wanted the family to treat me good.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys decide to leave. It's a total, like, shockwave in Dad's family for sure. And from then on,
people have slowly left and left.
People have slowly left, but also Dad just got upset and started being like, you guys are doing this bad thing and you guys are doing this bad thing and get out of here.
I know, and he even said at first it was like me and Becky and Nora did all these terrible things, and then all of a sudden, after a few years, he couldn't handle the thought that we left. So then instead he flips it into an imaginary world that Rachel and Becky and Nora are up in heaven and on this special mission because he couldn't handle the thought that we had left.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that he's just kind of gone insane and actually somewhat believes that?
Because I've read some of this stuff, and I see that I believe he knows it's not true.
Okay.
But he does that for himself to feel good about himself. And again, I don't think at all that he believes it. Because there's moments in what he says that he knows exactly what he's talking about. I think he just keeps himself in an imaginary world for his own happy, whatever little bit of happiness he thinks he can have. Because I think it's hard for him to accept that his kids turned against him because he hurt us.
That's an insane realization, because one of the things I've been struggling with all this time is like,
I think if he is insane at all, I think his guilt has driven him there.
Yeah.
I think he is smart, and I think he's evil as can. I think he's all evil, just as evil as can be. But I think more than anything, his guilt and living alone with his guilt, only himself and his guilt for so long has driven him that way.
Yeah.
I don't think if he was in that situation that he would necessarily be insane. I think he's that way because of his guilt and what he's done. Guilt can drive people to some pretty crazy places.
Yeah. Well, it's been really hard for me to accept that all this time he might have just been this mastermind doing all this stuff. And the more I learn, the more I'm just like, maybe.
I think he was... probably since as a child, because he had that feeling that he was special and he could get away with stuff. I think that he perfected the attribute of aspiring. I think he perfected that, and manipulation, and I think he just got better and better at it, especially with his father, and used it to his advantage. And why not? I mean, he got what he wanted, I guess, and he had a bad habit. He wasn't a good person. He forced us to be. I don't know why. I don't know. It's very confusing, but I am grateful that he didn't let us do the terrible things he was doing. I mean, while he did it to us, He didn't allow us, and it made us have to be good people, and I am grateful for that. I also am grateful for how he brought us together in singing and programs and fun stuff. It wasn't all bad, and I think that's so important for people to realize. We are capable of love. We are capable of a really good time. We are capable of really probably some of the happiest, funnest times ever, because we had to survive a lot of shit, and still we learned through, I mean, especially the older ones, we had programs, we had singing, we always sang together, we did all kinds of fun things, and I feel so sorry for the younger siblings. They didn't have that, so they don't have a lot of good memories that we have. We have good memories we can relate to. I think I give the younger siblings so much more room because their life was pretty bad.
Yeah. We don't know how to act at a party. Very awkward. Now, I probably do now, but some of those younger ones, yeah.
No, I know, and especially some of the brothers, I think it's hard for them to communicate well with other people because father put the boys down so much and made them feel like they weren't worth a lot. He really did.
He did.
He made the boys feel like they weren't worth much, and the girls were way more special, and so the girls felt more special, and the girls are a little better at just feeling special because they think they are or whatever. I don't know. The boys feel like they have to try hard, and I think that hurt them, but I also think maybe it can be a blessing too, because then they'll try harder.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on the family that's still there that says and believes, no, Warren Jeffs didn't abuse anybody. They have all this evidence. So many of his children, I would say you're kind of the key person in all this, but so many people have said this has gone wrong.
Well, so many at least 4 of us girls have told, of me and the sisters have said father sexually abused us. So that's 4 girls right there. I mean, his sisters have come out about it. Obviously everyone knows he married 12-year-old girls. I mean, it's so obvious. There's so much proof. So it is really hard to look at people and say, really? I feel like more. I don't feel like so much that people don't believe us now. I feel like they're justifying him. Well, he was tested, beat more than any other man in the world, or God has forgiven him because he's been in prison, or, all this stuff. And I'm like, put it in another perspective. If you believe that he could be a God, do you actually believe that your God right now sexually abused little children? When God said it would be better for them to be thrown in the depths of the ocean with a millstone tied about their neck? I would never believe in God if I thought he had sexually abused children, And so they think father could become a God or is a God to them, and he could do this because he was tested more than anyone else. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it is. And I've heard some insane justifications. Talking to people that are still in, I've heard some insane justifications, and it makes me a little bit mad,
Yeah, me too, because I'm like, let's think about the children in this situation and then tell me that it's okay. No, he messed up. I believe he did it to our sister Shirley. She would not be that messed up, and we don't have to put that on there. But look, he took her life away. He took her life away. She'll never have kids because of whatever he did to her. He kept her in his room for hours.
Oh, she's still there, isn't she?
Mother Net told me he kept her in his room, for his office, for hours. He would tend her for hours when she was a baby.
Really?
For hours. She said he was the only baby he did that to.
She has always been a little bit different.
She wouldn't let her husband get close to her. She was scared of 2-year-old boys coming in by her door. She's messed up. And she would only be messed up like that because she experienced something at a very young age.
Yeah. That's a crazy realization, because all my life I just kind of thought, oh, she's so weird.
Yeah, everybody just thought she's weird. But what did she go through to become weird is the saddest thing ever. And the fact that it would have been when she was very young. Because that's when... I remember Melanie saying to me when I was 13... I was 13, and she says, Father used to love Shirley because he was mad. She was just an angry person, and he was always really hard on her, and she hated him for some reason. She hated him. And Lynette was just in the kitchen, and she's like, Father used to keep Shirley and tend Shirley for hours when she was a baby, and he loved Shirley the most. And all I thought, I was 13 years old, and all I thought was, what did he do to her when she was a baby? Because everything he did to me was in his office. Why did he have a baby girl in his office for hours without her mother?
Something definitely happened to her.
And
You can tell, just like living with her for a while,
I know.
you can tell.
No, I know. No, she's freaked out over any male human ever. A baby.
Yeah.
She won't touch a baby boy. So, no, there's a messed up situation there. And I feel really sorry for her. And as a child, I thought that about father. And I won't ever believe otherwise.
Yeah.
Whether she remembers it or not.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he's exempt from anything as far as sexual abuse goes.
Yeah. I've talked to some of Dad's wives, some of his younger wives, and a lot of them about these very things, and just in private conversations, saying, how is this justified? And I've heard a lot of different justifications, but one of the main ones I hear is that Warren Jeffs, no matter what he did, he has suffered for what he's done now, and God has taken him through. If he did do something wrong, he's suffered, and now he's in a position to be, the prophet.
And I just want to say, are you God to make that measurement? I mean, seriously, we have seen people suffer. Think of the Holocaust. Suffer so much, and are we the judge of who has suffered enough? Those people didn't even do anything, and they suffered more than Warren has suffered.
Right.
So somehow he's worthy now. I mean, I just think that's a terrible excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard one mother. There was two mothers talking, and one of them wasn't our family, but one says to the other, "Would you justify Warren Jeffs abusing your daughter?" And they just flipped out. But in the end, then they were kind of like, I can't judge the prophet. And it's kind of like we've gotten to a point as FLDS people where
you had to have a prophet. To me, it's like, we don't have to have anyone to connect us to God. What is wrong with everybody? We got to where we were worshiping a man, not God. Now let's get rid of that man, because we weren't actually worshiping God. We were worshiping a man. And then we can start thinking straight, like, no man is perfect. Every man is capable of sin. And by God, a prophet, pastor, teacher, whatever, is super capable of it, because he has a position of power.
What do you think about the future of the FLDS? Do you think Helaman's going to try to make something out of the FLDS, or do you think he's kind of just going to let things go?
I don't think he's going to let him go, because that's his money source. I think right now with Father's family, they love that position of authority, power, feeling like they're special. And then next to that, they love the money. They need the money to keep doing what they're doing. They need the money. So what I saw, when I saw a shift in Helaman and his efforts, was when they were afraid they're going to lose the money. Suddenly he's standing up and, no, don't go do these, don't go on your own and think on your own. What I don't know is if they're planning ahead, because who is Helaman's kids going to marry? Each other?
Yeah.
It's a little messed up. I don't think they're planning ahead. I think at the same time, if Father died, Helaman would step in and take over. I do, and do his own thing. Maybe not as harshly as Father, because I don't believe he's as evil at all. I don't think I don't want to even say he's evil, but I think as long as you do what Father does, you become evil.
I sometimes have these like angry moments where I feel like exposing everybody that still supports the FLDS. Like, you're still paying your tithing. You support pedophiles? Like, what is your problem?
Yeah.
And then I have other moments where I'm like, wait, I kind of feel sorry for everybody. What do you think is the right balance for like men that still, for example, somebody like Paul Bigley that own, he runs Phase Concrete. They do over 40, 50, 70 million a year, whatever. And they're sending enormous amounts of tithing and stuff. Are those kind of people directly responsible, because these aren't ignorant men. He runs a business. He knows, he has the ability to know everything about Warren Jeffs. Like, is he supporting pedophilia?
I wonder, I mean, this is my perspective. I think they honestly believe they're doing the right thing. I do. I think he does. And I think he thinks they've been blessed because they've done it. And he thinks that's the way to keep being blessed financially, is by supporting the FLDS leaders.
I would totally agree.
I think if they actually sat down and had a conversation with me and you, and we said, this is how it is, they might come to their senses. I do. Or at least it would get in their head long enough. I don't think they've allowed themselves to listen to us. I think they have the capacity and the capabilities to. I don't know about the capacity, but they have the capability to. But I don't think they have. I don't think they've let themselves go there, and I think they're super faithful. And yeah, they think that, I think they're true believers.
Yeah.
I think if they actually had one of us tell them the truth, it might start getting in their head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think money, in a way, runs them too, and they think that's why they've been blessed. Also, if they don't stay loyal to the FLDS, they don't have all those workers.
I know.
So in a way, it's like they would not be that successful if they didn't keep faithful.
That's
and so
true.
It's the whole system that keeps them so rich.
Yeah.
So maybe that plays into it too. I mean, I think like BZI, I don't know if the owner of BZI, does he believe still?
BZI as a company will not give money to the FLDS.
Oh, good.
But they
still use the system, but they won't.
So I think Heathen asked them for money, and they said, if you want money, you just have to go right to our workers, and they can pay their tithing, but we're not going to.
Good for them.
But FaZe and some other framing companies and some other bigger companies that have kind of been growing.
I think companies like BZI and FaZe and all of them could still be successful, could still do the same thing, especially if they believed and left.
BZI is probably more successful because
they've chosen to believe.
They've chosen to do that.
Yeah, because they realized the mistake of the
They
FLDS.
really kind of have left.
Yeah.
But FaZe is probably the biggest, like, most loyal. You can't work for FaZe and leave.
That is what I think BZI started finding out the truth, is that they actually let people work for them even though they were questionable. Like, people would say, oh, they're not being faithful. BZI didn't care. They were still just going to let them work for them. They weren't going to fire them on conditions of faithfulness or not. And I think they've been blessed for that because they were kind.
How do you think we should look at Heathen in the sense that, like me, I am truly afraid, like genuinely afraid, that if I had been, like, say those guys had been kinder to me,
that you would still be faithful.
That I would still be faithful, and then if they told me you should marry this girl, I think I would do it.
I know, that's what's scary, isn't it? I know. That's where you're blessed if you're treated bad. You feel blessed that you were treated bad because then you got woken up.
Right.
I think, but I always come down to everyone has a different degree of independence, and some of us that were more independent thinking were rebellious enough that we got treated bad, so that we would find the truth. And I think we are blessed for that. Those people who can't show any independence at all and who are totally dependent on other people and the belief system and all that, they're the last ones to see it and the last ones to find the truth because they're such obedient people. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I know. I have to say,
you have to question stuff.
Everybody there right now it's like, you guys, they know everything. They've watched my podcast. They watch everything about the FLDS. They know everything. It's like...
Well, and that's, most of them are afraid of losing their support system, their comfort zone. They can't face the world for how it is. I mean, really, most of them that are there, you think about their nature and you're like, yeah, you might not succeed out in the world. It's pretty tough out here.
Uh-huh.
It is pretty tough.
It is pretty tough.
And you have to be really brave to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know all the boys, Heathen and all the boys, they watch everything. I know they do.
Oh, I know they do too. They've been reading my stuff for years. I mean, that was all there was to talk about, was what is Rachel posting now? Or what is Rachel writing about?
Yeah. But it was so insane to me how much different your book hit me listening to it recently rather than before. It's like before I read it like all that stuff happened, next kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think also we heal, it takes years to heal. And I think about when I first left versus now. Oh my gosh, my mind's in a whole different place. And I thought I was smart and I thought I knew stuff. But oh my gosh, I was miles from what I know now. And the healing, like, just, oh my gosh, it's just shocking, the difference. And it takes time to heal and to come to that realization. And so, yes, to read or hear my book right after you leave versus years later, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so terrible, versus when you first hear, oh yeah, you were barely living all that terrible stuff, so it didn't seem that bad, you know?
Yeah.
Or I saw that, or I experienced that while I lived through it. I mean, then you hear it again and you go back, even in your mind, to think about it, and you're like, did I live that way? Yeah. Oh my gosh, what was wrong with me? How did I stay faithful that long? Or how did I put up with it that long? But that's because that's all we knew. That's all we knew. And now that we know different, it's like, what some crazy people.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I cannot believe how crazy this is, kind of a thing.
It was. And I mean, some of Father's family now have gone through way more mind games than I even did, or listening to his visits or all that. And even for people to write about it, no one can understand it, or it's too bad now. But for us, it's like, God, I'm glad I got out before then, because that's even worse. I still think, though, since we have left, there's enough knowledge people could leave. They really could. And it's so much scary when you're the first ones versus you have people to go to, or people that will love you now.
Okay, but thinking about this a little bit more, I actually don't know that I would have just put up with everything there, because when I was still pretty faithful, then I heard about Mon getting a message about some terrible things she'd done and like cutting some people up and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was so mad.
Okay, I don't think you would have either, because I know I wouldn't have. I know if I would have been in a position next to Father, well, I was way too rebellious in the first place. I always was. I would have never I would have told Father off. I actually would have. I would have lied to everybody and said, Father's sick. I would have told him the truth that Father was sick, or I would have said, Father's bad. If I would have been in a position of authority, I would have told everybody the truth.
Yeah.
I would have said, he said he's bad, and he is, because of what he did. You know, I know I would have not let everyone get treated like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think all of us would when people say, oh, if you were in a position of authority, you would have done the same thing. I always say, by hell, I wouldn't, which is why I was never in a position of authority or close, because I was too rebellious. I would never fall for what Father said. He knows it too, and that's why he kept me separate.
Yeah, and another thing is, after everything happened with those girls that were literally Father's scribes, and then they left, everybody knew about that. Like, you have to... Yeah. At this point, I just don't really think... I think you're super delusional if you're still there.
Or you're just... love to be coddled.
Yeah.
Or you cannot face the world. I mean, some of those siblings have gone out a little bit in the world and had to take care of themselves, and they hated it. So they're like, we prefer to just be taken care of. I mean, it's just a tough life. It's like, yeah, it is, but gosh, it sure is rewarding if you just go out and work for yourself and figure it out. I mean, I think they're so miserable because they have to follow these certain standards if they want that lifestyle, and it's a really sad lifestyle. And gosh, they don't get love or family or anything.
There's also a big group of the FLDS that won't face the truth. They're like, we're loyal, we love Warren Jeffs, we don't want to hear anything about him, we don't tell, but they won't really do what he says now.
Oh, most of them won't.
Yeah, it's so insane. And they think I'm this crazy guy because I'm talking against,
Yeah.
And so they won't really talk to me either, but they won't do what he says. But it's like, what?
Well, they think as long as I don't talk against the prophet, I'm okay.
Exactly.
I'm like, the first thing you need to do is talk against the prophet that isn't a prophet. So everybody knows that maybe you have some normalcy to you. Because the second you come out here and you're living as a hypocrite, no one's going to like you. I think that I dislike them more when they don't do what they say they believe, and yet they won't talk against it. I mean, I think that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. There's something I forgot to ask you about, and it's Rich told me this story that when you guys as a family, I think you were at 23, you were supposed to be getting rid of some archives or something. And there was a bunch of archives that you didn't want to get rid of. And he specifically told me the story about you.
Okay.
But he said that you didn't want to get rid of them. And he took them all out and he put them in this thing, put gas on them and lit them on fire. And after you had left, he was telling me, like, I'm so glad I did. Because that's, we were having I wanted some pictures of all of us from him. And he was saying, we're just going to delete them all. Anyway, he told me this story about you because to his point, like, one of us are going to probably leave and then...
and then you'll have the pictures.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't think of it. I can think of when we were supposed to burn music and toys, and I didn't want him to, of the kids, and from the kids, and he still did. So, there was like that. But as far as all the pictures, whether he believes it or not, I have every single picture still.
Wow.
Every picture. And when we were supposed to delete pictures of family members and cut them out and everything, I never would. And I still have every picture. So whatever he's talking about, I have every single picture of our family, every one of them.
I see.
All of them on DVDs, everything. I still have all that. So that's funny that he thinks that I don't have it. I still have it. I also have every bit of everything. I've always keep everything. So yeah, I still have it. Yeah. Whatever he burned was music. Gentile music.
So insane. I hope everybody does something reasonable.
Should I tell you something funny about when I left?
Yeah.
Because Uncle Al was going to have me move up to the property, right? And I hadn't quite decided if I was leaving that night. But he had parked a trailer by my house. Well, I was pretty sure, but I wasn't that certain. And because the heaviest thing of all my stuff was my good books, so I packed up all the books and put them in the trailer. And I forgot that I put all my good books in the trailer. That was all that was in the trailer, was like the sermon books, Grandfather's, Uncle Roy's, all that stuff. So then when I left, I had everything else but my good books. And so I thought afterwards, I was like, probably everybody thinks, oh, Rachel was such a terrible person. She left all her good books and just I don't know, it's just, it could look really bad. And I just thought all the surmising and all the gossip and everything, that's what it would have been. But it was actually an accident. I didn't mean to leave all those books. I don't care now. And I actually would have nothing to do with them. But at the time, it was not on purpose.
Yeah. So when you left, Nora had left from R23. I remember that was crazy.
And I was in contact with her the whole time. Like I had told her to call our relatives and everything. And then when Isaac calls me and told me Nora left, I made myself cry and pretend like I didn't.
Really?
Because I didn't want him to know that I knew. Oh
wow! And then you decide to leave because you're told that you have to move with Lyle.
Yeah, see, I the reason I didn't leave as soon, I wanted to talk to Richard. I wanted to convince him. I kept hoping that I'd get to talk to him or be with him or something. Then when Father started telling me that to prepare to move with his family, I was like, I will not move with his family. I knew I would not survive. His family is awful in general. Just the Warren's.
Oh, Warren.
He kept telling me to prepare to live with his own family.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, there's so many tattletales, and I knew they'd tell on my children because they weren't perfect, and well, they were just fun and happy like Majesa, and I didn't want them to tattle on her and have her get separated from me. So I was like, I'll for sure leave before that happens. And then when I got the message, you have to move up to Lyle's tonight, when Lyle told me that, and I was just like, yep, I'm out of here. So I still tried really hard to get Isaac to have Richard call me, but
I remember that because I was with Rich.
But yeah, Richard wouldn't. Too bad for him now. He's still miserable. It's okay. I did decide after I left, I thought, it's probably better that I don't have Rich in my life for my kids' sake, because then he would have other women and children and have to worry about, and I just didn't want to deal with the polygamy side of things. So
Yeah. What do you think about Uncle Isaac and Uncle Nephi and Uncle Lyle?
I think they're living what they sowed. I mean, I think they're reaping what they sowed in a way, but I will always hope the best for them. I hope that their families will come around and that.
Did you hear about some of the stuff that happened with Lyle's family?
I've heard some. I don't really know.
Where
everything.
I think his wife and son.
Yes,
had
I
a
did
kid.
hear about. Yeah, all messed up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I think
several wives and sons have done that. Sons have done that.
It's crazy.
They're real motherfuckers, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think Uncle Isaac just feels, I kind of feel bad for him, but he feels really lonely because he doesn't have his family and he's been gone.
But he hurt so many people. And he was so mean to our sister Becky when she was going through her experiences. He was so mean, and he would get up and publicly in front of the family and all the people on the property and make fun of her and her boys when they were right there and just laugh. And he was so rude that I just feel like I think karma comes around. We get what we do.
That's fair. I think they're kind of in...
You get what you are.
Yeah,
I think
they're
that's
kind
true.
of they're all kind of in a bad situation right now.
They are, but they're going to have to show a lot of love to someone to get better, because it's not very good for them.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to everybody that you take from your whole experience? What's the most important thing you think you've learned through all of this?
I think one of the most important things, there's so many lessons, but I think one of the most important things to me is never look at your life and think, oh, I'm so picked on, life's so terrible. Why would God make me go through all this terrible things? There must not really be a God, because he's made me suffer this much, or makes other people suffer this much. No, it's not true. You use all those experiences. If you take those experiences and use them right, you will become wise. You will become happy. You can become such a better person. And if you sit at home and have no challenges and have no hard experience, you're going to suck. No one's going to like you. You'll be an it. I mean, it is experience that makes us grow character and become a better person. And I think never feel sorry for your experiences. I think everybody needs to take those experiences, be grateful for them, and learn from them. And that's the most important thing. And yes, there's trauma, childhood trauma, all that. Don't dwell on the trauma. Dwell on the good and the happy, and you will heal. I think you just can't feel sorry for yourself. I think it's important. Yes, I talk about it. I do bring it up because that's how we help other children not go through it. That's how we help other people heal. And you don't have to go through sexual abuse, so to say, to become a good person or to be an awesome person. That's not what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter what you go through. Everybody's going to go through hard experience. Just take whatever you go through and become a better person with it. Make it so other people don't have to suffer with like that, or teach other people how to heal from it, or something like that, rather than, oh, I'm so picked on because I went through all this hard stuff. Everybody feels sorry for me, and can I cry for the rest of my life, and be on mental medication and go to therapy for the rest of my life. No, I don't think that's necessary. I think we can focus on the good and be a better people.
I totally agree that we need to not be victims. At the same time, I think a lot of people that leave the FLDS, they won't even talk about it. And to me, that's...
No, I think you have to talk about it to heal. I will say one of the hugest healing things for me is writing my book. I think if you never publish your story, write it down. You don't know... most people shouldn't publish their story, but everybody should write it down because it is so healing to write it down.
Yeah.
It starts making sense. And I think you heal. I think another thing, if people use their hard experiences for an excuse to do bad, they're not going to heal.
Yeah, and that's one of the things...
And that's where they're going to not... They're never... I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the things I say is how can we learn from our experience if we don't analyze it? Like, we don't even want to talk about it. Yes. But if we don't analyze it, we didn't learn anything. We're just going to do something stupid again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, it is so important to talk about. I think it's so important to talk. I think telling our stories helps other. Also, so many people in the world share hard experiences, similar experiences, whether it was a small group, a family. Everybody goes through all kinds of abuse and domestic violence, all kinds of stuff. It's just they can still relate to us, just in a different way. And maybe it sounds a little crazy in our world, but so does theirs for us,
Yeah.
We listen to their stories like, oh my gosh, why would people ever do that? But then they listen to our story and we're like, oh my gosh, why would people ever do that?
I know.
So, I mean, it's a two-way street, and we all get to learn from each other's experiences. Also, we feel like people can relate, and it's nice to have people relate.
I also feel like if people truly analyze it, they have a chance to understand like how insane of a thing they were part of.
Yeah.
Like, once you really understand it every day, every time I analyze this with somebody, I'm just like, oh my God. Especially because my brain was so deep into that. It was insane. I cannot believe I was so into that.
I know we all were. It was crazy.
Do you have any last things you want to say to close up the podcast?
Let's see.
Anything
Just never believe that you are stuck in a bad situation, that you have to stay stuck in a bad situation. If you're not happy and you know it's not right for you, don't stay.
Yeah. There's one more thing I've got to ask you about, and it's the girls that have gone on to marry just into other cults, if you ask me somewhat. To me, I'm not condemning those girls. I'm not saying they're doing something so wrong, but
I think they're very naive.
To me, it's like their mind is not totally free. They did not fully comprehend the world. And I think the thing that they say to us is like, oh, you think if we're doing anything religious or anything like this, then we're brainwashed. And to me, it's like, no, out here, like you're doing your own thing, I'm doing my own thing, my brothers, we all have disagreements. But we all kind of see clearly. And would you agree that maybe they don't fully see the world quite clearly?
I will say that dating when you first leave, or to even get married when you first leave, you are this little first grader dater. You're a little first grader. No, you don't know what you want. I think, even me, I made choices that I would never make now, because I was so naive, and there was no one to guide me in the dating world. We had never been taught what to look for, what not to look for, because we didn't get to date. So I think we all come out and we're like, now we get to choose. We're just going to make a great choice. If we gave ourselves some time to heal before we made those choices, which is very difficult because we're all big adults that are moving on in years, and it's like, well, why would I wait? I'm an adult, but we're little kids for the world. We were little children. We were dating as children, and I think whether we want to accept that or not, that's how naive we were. Yeah. And so to make those choices right after you leave it can be detrimental. I mean, it was, for me, I've healed a lot from my choices, and I've had to learn that wasn't the right choice for me, and I need to pick myself up, make a different, very difficult decision, and make a different choice, But it took years for me to come to that, and that's why so for me, I think for all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, to date right after we leave, we're dating as first graders.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you can go on a date, but that's the problem with if you come from the FLDS. You just trip over in love, and it's like, no.
No, because you suddenly are waking up to these feelings that you didn't have. Well, some of us obviously experienced marriage to a degree and whatever, still messed up, so I can't say it was exact. It wasn't correct, but for especially these young people coming out, and well, now they're 30 coming out or whatever, they've never had sex, and now they're just the first girl that looks twice at him, they're like, oh, I'm so in love with her.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what the fuck, you don't know what you're talking about. But they don't know that.
They don't.
And you feel, it's just, you feel so much, I feel so much love for them, and I feel so sorry for them, and I want to so much, I just want to wrap them in my arms and say, stop, just go to a town that has no FLDS, nobody that's going to take advantage of you, and heal for a minute. Then, after 3 or 4 or 5 years, date. Which none of them do. So they all make a big mess. So many get pregnant really young if they leave young, or get pregnant before they're on their feet. I mean, so many girls are in dire circumstances because it's just, they're just too naive.
Well, I know you recently got divorced, and I just personally, I feel really strongly that if two people are not happy together at any point in their lives and they can't see a fixable future, they should separate and not live that way. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think for me, and I don't know how it is for everyone, I think you see that up front. I actually saw that up front. It was more trying to follow, for me, like, oh, Rachel, you were taught, well, everyone's going to think you're immoral if you don't stay with that man, or just because you dated him. You know, for me, we were taught such strict morals. I felt like, I kissed this man, I have to marry him. Literally, that's how it felt at first, you know, because I was one of the first ones out. That's kind of how we were feeling about life, because we were going to live this moral life and prove to everybody that we were good, right? Whereas I needed to give myself room that it's okay to mess up a little bit, and you don't have to marry the first guy you kiss, or that kisses you, I should say, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I was very vulnerable. Also, I think for us, especially the girls, feel like you just do whatever the man wants. You just please the man always. I mean, you just whatever. You just let him take charge and build him up, invest in him. No, that's not what you do. You have to invest in you and make sure you're happy. And I think for us who are trained that way, it's very, even more real that they should take more time before they actually make that decision.
Yeah.
Because for me, I knew, I mean, we broke up within the first year. I knew it wasn't right. But then to hear all the noise of, Rachel, you got to do this, follow these certain rules to be a good person. And it's like, okay, I'll just not be happy for the rest of my life. I mean, and I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying, for me, I knew up front that wasn't right for me as far as happiness goes, and for my kids, they weren't happy. I more than anything just want to say, give yourself time. Give yourself time, because people, and don't ever feel like you have to make a choice because, oh, you had sex with this person, or, oh, you kissed this person. If it's the wrong person, it's the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
And you know it in your heart or your gut. Something tells you that's the wrong person, and you don't just keep going along with it hoping that someday it will start feeling better. It doesn't. It gets worse.
Yeah. But I think a lot of those girls that are married, you know, down in that community, feel like they look at all of us and be like, oh, you got divorced, you know, you've had 5 girlfriends. You guys are so messed up. You know, that's how they think.
I think you can never take all of us as a group, and all of us are so individual, and our stories are so different, and however we figure it out, we figure it out. Yeah. I think for all of us siblings that have left, and I love all of them so much. I see where they're coming from. I see where all of us have, it's just been such a journey, and I just feel like putting a huge cloak of charity around everybody and being like, we all came from a very messed up world. Let's just love each other through whatever any of us choose to do, and trust that we're going to do the best thing for ourselves. And whether someone believes in this prophet or this God or this whatever they choose to believe in, we have to give each other room, because we came from a very messed up world, and we can't really decide who's right or wrong. All we can do is just trust that we'll use our experiences to be better people. And I think if we're not showing love and judging each other, then how can we be there for each other when we go through hard experiences? And that's what this divorce has taught me, that those siblings who are just like, Rachel, you're doing such a terrible thing to divorce your husband. So then I felt super alone, which is fine. It taught me so much. But to actually be judged so hard about that, when I'm like, Father took all you girls away from how many men? I mean, at what point do I have to stay with this one because I had sex with him? Just because I mean, it's just,
I feel like,
I think we have to give each other so much room to heal and figure out what's right for ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in the FLDS and even out of it that are kind of still in, look at us and say, your struggle is proof that you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, no. The struggle is proof that
we came from a very fucked up situation.
Yeah. So, well, thank you, Rachel, for doing the podcast. I really appreciate it. I think you have some of the best insight into Warren Jeffs. So, thanks for doing the podcast.
Sadly.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye.